off. We cannot have any metals touching the plates.
Okay.
And then your feet on the plates.
And you need your bare feet there.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then hands.
And hands. And then we will see that everything is well connected before we start the test.
Cool. So what exactly is happening through these plates?
I will explain it while we do the test. Can I have your finger a little bit? Is it all the way touching this? Can you put it down again? Okay, I just need to see that we have good signal before we start.
Okay.
So the first assessment we're going to do is really 8 different types of technologies, where with this device we're doing 7 of them simultaneously. So we used to have all these 7 technologies also as standalone technologies, and then we basically found out that if you combine them all into one software, then you can calculate so much more information from that. First of all, you save time doing it at the same time, but you can find out so much more information by putting the jigsaw pieces together so that you can see the overall picture, and so that you can calculate that when this is like that and this is like that and that factor is like that, then it means this and that. So we can do much more interpretations when we have enough pieces of the jigsaw. So that's really what we're trying to do here. The body's very complex, there's so many different factors going on at all times, and we need different methodologies to measure the different aspects and the different processes in the body, so that's why we're combining all these methodologies. So what we're going to do here now with these technologies is really to map out all your functions, all the main regulations and functions and the main systems, to find out what is working right, what is not working right. And when we find something that is not functioning the way it should, then we will dig deeper into why it's not functioning. So then we're going to do other tests to really find what causations there are. And usually there's a combination of causations. Some might be lifestyle related, some might be psychosomatic, some might be physical, various sorts, some are underlying, some are trigger factors. All that we're going to map out so that we get a full grasp of your health and what needs to be done to optimize your health.
Okay.
And optimizing might mean fixing a problem, or it might mean optimizing further beyond that. Well,
cool.
So I'm going to start the test.
Okay.
And while we do the test, you cannot speak, because one of these 7 test methodologies is affected by the way you breathe, which again is affected by speaking. So 6 of these 7 methodologies are gold standard methodologies. That means that when you do scientific research, you have to use the gold standard to validate the results. So these are really the gold standard tests, 6 of them. And the 7th is so close to the gold standard that we can also always count on having the same conclusions. So in the upper left corner here we have an electrocardiogram measuring the electrical stability of the heart, but we're also measuring here with heart rate variability, which measures how the autonomic nervous system is regulating the heart. And then we can also see the overall regulations of the autonomic nervous system. So we can see stress regulations and abnormal digestive regulations, and basically the main processes that's going on in the body. At the bottom left here we have a digital pulse wave analysis that is measuring the stiffness of the arteries and how long time it takes for the blood to go through the various parts of the vascular system, the contractions of the heart, and then we also have their oximeter tests, so we can find out how much oxygen is in hemoglobin and how much oxygen goes to the cells and how much goes back, so the consumption of oxygen. Then we have here an electrointerstitial scan test, so there's 22 poles that we're testing again and again and again, sending signals through each of the 6 places where you are electronically connected to each of the other 6. And then we're looking at how that field is affected on that journey through the body. And there's a little bit of electricity in it, 1.28 volt, which means it will only go through the salt water in the body, and that's the cell's environment. It's called the interstitial fluid. And then we can see the ionic parameters there. So it's the charge of that fluid that makes a change, and the charge comes from the ionic balance. So we can see electrolyte, pH, all the factors on cellular level, but we can also see in real time what exchange there is of ions. So then we can see basically how the cells are working based on what goes in the cell, what goes out of the cells, and then see the level of activity in the cells, but also what type of activity is going on in the cells. And of course that is ultimately the most important when it comes to the physical aspects of health, is to see how the cells are functioning. Like even the cardiovascular, that's just supplying blood and oxygen to the cells so that they can function. But here we can actually measure how things function on the cellular level. And because we're cross-referencing all these 6 places where you're connected, then we can test 22 volumes, and then we can see also where there is an aberration. So we can pinpoint where in the body there might be something that is not correct on the cellular level. And then the 2 last tests that we did was bioimpedance tests, using the 4 plates to send in various fields and looking at the absorption of those fields. So one of them is testing body composition. We can find the water content inside the cells and outside the cells and the fat percentage. That's why we enter the height and the weight, so that it can be part of those calculations. And we're sending in, for example, testing the fat, we're sending in a field that is only absorbed by fat, and based on the absorption rate we can then calculate the fat percentage.
Cool.
So that's the only test that is not a gold standard test, but the gold standard test is way too tedious to do. You have to measure the weight in water and different types of densities. It's not something you would do in a clinic, but this will always give the same conclusions as that test. And the final test is testing the integrity of the cell membrane. So we're sending in a field that is absorbed by the cell membrane, and then we're looking at that breaking point for when this field can pass through the cell membrane. So then we can see also how ions can go through the cell membranes, so we can see permeability and what's called the dielectric properties of the cell membrane. That's what that machine that I showed you, the PAPIMI, that's what that can upregulate.
Okay.
So now we've done the main tests, and we're just going to do an additional test here just to see how your body adapts to some small challenges, and really how the autonomic nervous system regulates.
You can take your stuff off the plates if you'd like. Just keep
Yes.
everything else connected. Your hands
You
and your
can
feet.
lift up your hands,
Oh.
and now you can take your feet next to here, and we're also going to take these off. So this is only testing with the thing you have on your finger, which is a double laser plethysmograph. And we are now testing just how your autonomic nervous system is adapting to some small challenges and how it regulates back to normal afterwards. So first I'll explain what you're going to do, and then we'll do it afterwards. So you're going to inhale completely, fill your lungs as much as you can. Hold your breath for 15 seconds while I count,
Okay.
and then when you exhale, spend as long time as you can exhaling, and do it forcefully. Like, try to get all red and dizzy.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Okay. Don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright.
Wait,
Wow.
hold on, 15 seconds? Alright, hold on.
No, you inhale and
Inhale
you
for
keep your
15
breath.
seconds.
No,
No,
you
you're gonna inhale and
Inhale.
then
You
hold.
inhale.
And then
when
hold.
you have-
Okay.
when you're holding your breath, I will count 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So exhale now forcefully, more force. On. Wow, okay. So just relax. So soon it will tell you to stand up. So wait until the message, but then get ready to stand up.